Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Joanna Ho. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Dozens of people, many of them school children, are injured in a 5-vehicle crash in Tseung Kwan O. Thousands of people are evacuated following a fire in an industrial building in Cheung Sha Wan. And TVB is laying off staff as it cut costs to face new challenges in the industry. 93 people, most of them primary school children and the elderly, have been injured in a 5-vehicle pileup near the Tseung Kwan O tunnel. 4 buses and a lorry collided after failing to stop in time when a taxi switched lanes and sped off. Police are searching for the taxi driver. Missy Mok reports.
A dashcam captured the moment when a field trip for 180 children and teachers from the TickTock Lee Shiu Keun Primary School ended in horror. They became victims of a 5-vehicle collision. It happened just before 1 p.m. near the Kwun Tong entrance of the Tseung Kwan O tunnel, trapping 244 people inside 4 tour buses and a lorry.
This accident involved a lot of kids, young kids, and another group of elderly people on the 4 coaches. It takes a lot of manpower for our department to take care of them all, and we need to calm them down after the traffic accident. One of the coach and that's carrying all the elderly people is collided with the vehicle in front, and the door cannot be opened normally. And we will have to use the emergency exit.
The front of the coach right at the back was badly damaged, and firefighters spent 40 minutes to rescue the driver. He was conscious when he was rushed to hospital, where he's in serious condition. Dozens of primary school students on 3 tour buses were told to sit on the side of the road after the accident. The student said her heart beat faster when she heard a loud noise. She then felt dizzy. Holding an ice pack to her face, this girl said her head slammed into the seat in front by the impact. "I was very scared," she said. This woman, who suffered head and neck injuries, said her tour bus was on its way to Sai Kung when the collision occurred. Senior Inspector Lee Pok-kit said a taxi had allegedly changed lanes, causing a minibus to slow down, but the 5 vehicles behind weren't able to stop immediately. The taxi and minibus drove away before police arrived. The minibus driver has been found. On Monday, a double-decker bus flipped onto its side in Cheung Sha Wan, injuring about 40 people. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
A 3rd alarm fire at an industrial building in Cheung Sha Wan has forced the evacuation of at least 3,600 people from a residential estate and schools nearby. At least 4 people, including 2 firefighters, were sent to hospital. Jenna Slow reports.
The blaze broke out on the lower levels of Yuen Fat Wharf and Go Down in Cheung Sha Wan just before 2 p.m. and was upgraded to 3rd alarm after 20 minutes. The smoke on Fat Cheng Street was so thick that police officers were forced to wear gas masks. Firefighters deployed drones to get a better picture of the inferno. At least 3,600 people from a housing estate and 5 schools nearby had to be evacuated. This schoolboy said he smelled smoke. "I could barely see anything from the school corridor," he added. This resident said she kept coughing after inhaling smoke at home. "Even though all my windows and doors were shut, the air quality was still very bad," she said. The woman added that she smelled smoke 1 hour before police told her and her husband to evacuate. At least 5 people were rescued from the 8-story warehouse. 2 of them who had inhaled smoke and 2 firefighters who felt unwell were admitted to hospital. The building is owned by China Resources, which paid the government a land premium of $13.7 billion to convert the building into a residential and commercial complex with 2,500 units. It was the second third alarm blaze in a month. 3 weeks ago, firefighters battled for 9 hours to put out an inferno which engulfed a multi-story building under construction in Cheung Sha Wan. Janice Low, HKIBC.
11 Form 3 students have been sent to hospital for treatment to minor injuries suffered during a chemistry experiment. An ambulance took 6 boys from their Chengyi school to Princess Margaret Hospital. 5 girls were treated at Yanchai Hospital. A small amount of hydrogen peroxide spilled onto their fingers this morning during the science lesson at the Lok Sin Tong Leung Chik Wai Memorial School. TVB is reducing its workforce by 5% in a cost-cutting measure. The broadcaster said it has to take action because of fresh challenges to the TV industry. Jenna Slow reports.
TVB is laying off 5% of its workforce as part of a cost optimization plan to save $260 million annually. Executive Chairman Thomas Ho noted COVID has battered the city's economy, and with the TV industry facing new challenges, Hong Kong's biggest free-to-air operator has to act. To reduce operating costs, TVB is laying off about 200 people from its payroll of around 3,900. Programs that do not satisfy viewers or meet financial return targets will be scrapped. Hui said some positions will be axed permanently, and the station will keep a tight lid on indirect costs, including expenses on outsourcing jobs. In-house staff will be asked to complete tasks at a reasonable cost, but Hui assured that quality will be maintained. He said although the cost-cutting measures are tough, they are necessary to keep TVB competitive. The station, based in Tseung Kwan O, has recorded a deficit since 2018. It expects its annual net loss for last year to range between $790 million and $830 million. In 2021, the station was $647 million in the red. Janice Low, HKIBC.
A Law Society delegation sets off next week on its first visit to Beijing since 2019. Its president, Chen Chek-ming, said he will tell mainland officials exactly what his members think about the national security law. The last time members of the Law Society visited Beijing was in 2019, after which trips were suspended because of COVID. Next week, Chen Chek-ming, who was elected president 2 years ago, will lead the Society's council on a trip to Beijing. During the 5-day tour starting on Monday, delegates will call on a number of institutions, including the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, the Ministry of Justice, and top universities. Chen pledged to faithfully reflect his members' views on the national security law.
Hong Kong is a very diverse city, and so is the Law Society. Our members have very diverse views on different issues.
Chen admitted that the national security law is undoubtedly controversial, but said that's normal, as similar legislation in other jurisdictions also had a mixed domestic response. He said the itinerary for the trip to the capital is tight, and it is not yet known who they will meet. Commenting on proposed amendments to the Legal Practitioners Ordinance, Chen said he believes Beijing will support the current practice that allows foreign lawyers to register with the Law Society and participate in local trials. The bill aims to raise the threshold for overseas lawyers to take part in national security cases. Hong Kong's Bar Association will visit the capital next month. Overseas, there seems to be no end to the protests that have gripped France since the retirement age was raised without a vote in parliament. Angry demonstrators set fire to the town hall in Bordeaux, while in Paris, demonstrators again clashed with police. Cheung Sha Wan reports.
A McDonald's outlet in Paris felt the wrath of demonstrators furious over the raising of retirement age, which means they will be able to collect pensions only when they reach the age of 64 instead of 62. Windows were smashed and the front of the fast food joint was damaged. Riot police responded with force to disperse the crowd. Demonstrators retaliated with firecrackers. Masked men vandalized storefronts in the capital and fled before police arrived. Rubbish which has been piling up on Parisian sidewalks was set on fire. Parts of the city resembled a war zone with demonstrators and police fighting pitched battles. There were protests in other French cities, including Nantes in the west, where thousands marched peacefully. But there's growing anger and dissatisfaction with the government after President Emmanuel Macron used special constitutional powers to sideline parliament and pass the pensions bill. Sachin Kadpi, HKIBC.
Democratic and Republican lawmakers in the United States have joined forces to subject TickTock's chief executive to what one report described as vicious questioning. Shou Zichu's appearance came amid moves by Washington to ban the widely popular app over concerns about national security and the mental health of teenage users. Chloe Feng reports.
Congressman, if you give me a bit of time to just
No, I don't. It's a yes or no question. Have you directed your engineers to change that source code?
I'm not sure I understand.
Why are you allowing TickTock to continue to have the capacity for censorship, and yet you claim here that you don't? Let me remind you of something. Do you realize that making false and misleading statements to Congress is a federal crime?
For 5 hours, Shou Zichu, TickTock's chief executive, was grilled by lawmakers on the House Energy and Commerce Committee, who wanted to make a case why the video sharing app should be banned in the United States. TickTock has 150 million young American users, but Washington has national security concerns as it is owned by Chinese company ByteDance.
TickTock surveils us all. And the Chinese Communist Party is able to use this as a tool to manipulate America as a whole.
I have seen no evidence that the Chinese government has access to that data. They have never asked us. We have not provided.
Well, you know what? I find that actually preposterous.
Our commitment is to move that data into the United States to be stored on American soil by an American company, overseen by American personnel. So the risk will be similar to any government going to an American company asking for data.
Chu denied allegations that short videos from the app endanger children's mental health.
中国政府高度重视并依法保护数据隐私与安全。
In Beijing, Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning again rebuffed Washington's national security concerns. She said Beijing has never and will not require companies to hand over data gathered overseas. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
Hong Kong stocks ended the week lower amid lingering concerns over a global banking crisis. The Hang Seng Index dropped 0.7%, shouldering the burden of hard-hit bank stocks. HSBC finished 2.9% lower as major stakeholders proposed the sale of its Asian business. Standard Chartered lost 2.7% after it bought back 3.6 million shares because of short selling on the London Stock Exchange yesterday. China Merchants Bank slid 2.6% ahead of its result announcement. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed down 133 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tencent was up $1.20, Meituan down 90 cents. Lenovo Group up 67 cents. China Mobile down $1.05. To the forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, euros at 8.42, pounds at 9.58, and Australian dollar at 5.2. Over to the UK market, FTSE 100 is down 131 points. On to the weather now. It will be cloudy with a few showers tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 21 and 26 degrees. More unsettled weather in the following few days. That's our main news for Friday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Joanna Ho. Thanks for watching. Good night.